All right then. So now what we have to do, all we have to do is to close this. I'm going to close this one. Let's create a new project folder over here called 5UI. And let's create a new file over here, index.html. Let's create a new folder over here, CSS. Let's say styles.css. Let's bring the boilerplate code over here just by using emmet abbreviations and bring the link tag to link your external CSS files. And this time we are going to build a honeycomb loader animation stuff just by using the plain CSS itself. Okay. So here I'm just going to say dot honeycomb, and inside this honeycomb div, so basically we are going to create how many divisions? 2 4 6 7 subdivisions. So let's create div multiplied it by 7. So this is the Zen coding. Basically we are creating a div with a class name called .honeycomb, and inside that we are going to create 7 subdivisions tags like this, just like that, instantly. Okay, so let's refresh it and let's see the 5UI. So you should be able to see this, and let me check it out whether it is loaded properly. Inspect the elements. So there we go. Cool, right? So let's get into the styles.css. Target the complete margin 0, padding 0, box sizing border box. Save it, and let's target the body tag. Width, let's access the complete viewport with 100 VW, height 100 VH, display flex, and align the entire content both horizontally and vertically in the center. So align items center, justify the content center, and let's change the background color a little bit like a dark UI. Let's say background hash 212121, something like this. So that's how it looks. Perfect, right? So then now we need to target the styles for this honeycomb. So let me target the honeycomb. Open it. So for the honeycomb, what I'm going to do is I'm going to fix the height of the honeycomb as 24 pixels. Height as 24 pixels. Position, which is going to be the relative position. And we missed the one more property called width, that is 24 pixels. So now this honeycomb is entirely like that much size itself. You can see there is a small square in the center. Right. Now, inside the honeycomb, we have this div tag. So let's target those commonly all the divisions. Okay. So for the div, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give a background color, which is going to be hash F3, F3, F3. Perfect. Then we are making the width and height. So width, let me give it as 24 pixels, and height, let me give it as 12 pixels. Okay. And from the margin top, I'm going to push it a little bit down like 6 pixels. So that's how it looks. Okay. Height, margin top, width and height, background, everything is done. And then we're going to make sure the positions are the absolute positions. Okay. Then I'm going to add the animations for this animation. I'm going to give the honeycomb itself as the animation name, 2.1 seconds, infinite, and it needs to run in the backwards. Okay, so far. Then I'm going to duplicate this one more time and give this as the WebKit animation tag property. Okay. All right, it's a shorthand property. This is the animation CSS property. All right, so now let's get into the pseudo elements. So dot honeycomb, target the div, and target the after pseudo element. Then dot honeycomb, target the div before pseudo element. So it's going to be having the empty content, and the position, it's going to be absolute positions, and left it's going to be 0, right it's going to be 0. That's the positions. And I'm gonna add the border left and right. Border left, which is going to be 12 pixels, because height here we mentioned is a 12 pixels, so those height needs to be compensated by using the border effect. So border left it's going to be 12 pixels solid, and it needs to be transparent. Then I'm gonna say border right, which is going to be 12 pixels solid, and that also needs to be transparent. Okay, then right after here dot honeycomb div colon after, open it, top needs to be -6 pixels, and border bottom needs to be 6 pixels solid, hash f3 f3 f3. Okay, now you can see we have a diamond shape on the top of it, right? Then let's target the before. Let's say dot honeycomb div colon before, open it, bottom -6 pixels, and border top, which is going to be 6 pixels solid, hash f3 f3 f3. So now you should be able to see the bottom also it having the triangle shapes over there. So currently you can see an hexagon shape for that division, which is perfect, right? So now all we have to do is to add the animation delay effects and the positions for those, each and everything. So let's say dot honeycomb div of nth child. Let's target the first child, open it. So I'm going to adjust the positions, which is going to be left -28 pixels, and from the top it's going to be 0. So I should be able to see one more honeycomb over there. So now I'm going to have one more honeycomb div colon nth child of 2. Let me target the positions left as -14 pixels and top from 22 pixels. These are just the placements, trial and error. You can adjust it however you want. If you're increasing and decreasing the sizes, you should align it these positions properly. Target the third child, and I'm going to make sure the left position is as the 14 pixels, and from the top it needs to be 22 pixels. That's it. Then let's target the honeycomb div nth child of number 4, open it. So for that we need to from the left I'm gonna push it 28 pixels, and from the top it needs to be 0. That's how it looks. Then dot honeycomb div colon nth child, open and target the fifth element, and let's say from the left it needs to 14 pixels, and from the top it needs to be -22 pixels. That's how it looks. Dot honeycomb div colon nth child of the sixth element, target it. From the left it needs to -14 pixels, and from the top it's going to be -22 pixels. That's how it looks. Okay, and let's target the honeycomb div colon nth child of the number 7th, open it. Okay, we need to say left, of course 0, top of course 0. That needs to be on the center. Now we have that honeycomb shape. Now we need to do some animation stuff. So for that we defined this animation name as honeycomb. So I'm going to copy it, and we are going to set the keyframes for all those animation stuffs. So let's say for the keyframe at keyframes with this animations for the honeycomb animations. So I'm going to target the 0, 20, 80, 100 percentage. So for all these 0 percentage, and for 20 percentage, and on 80 percentage, and on 100 percentage, on all these things, what are the styles it's going to be? Opacity, it's going to be 0. Then transform, which is going to be scale 0. And we need to use the WebKit shorthand transform as well as scale is going to be 0. Now we can't see anything. So then right after here on the 30th percentage and the 70 percentage, how does it needs to looks like? open it. I'm going to say opacity, it needs to be 1. And on the WebKit transform, which is going to be scale 1, then transform scale 1. Okay, now you can see instantly that's how it looks. Don't worry about it. And yep, we already mentioned the 100% here. But currently the problem is it's blinking like something like that, right? So I'm going to copy this. For the shorthand at keyframes also we need to write these styles, right? So let's say at WebKit keyframes for this honeycomb. Okay, so the reason why it's looking like that is because we haven't added the delay effects for each and every child. So for the first child, how long it needs to delay, when it needs to start its animation. So let's say animation delay, which is going to be 0.1 seconds. So WebKit animation delay, which is going to be 0.1 seconds. Save it. All right, then let's target that the second one, which is going to be animation delay, which is going to be 0.1 seconds. Then WebKit animation delay, that is 0.1 seconds. Okay, and now we can see the 2 honeycombs, it's delaying it. Now the animation delay, which is going to be 0.2 seconds. Then WebKit animation, which is going to be 0.2 seconds. Now let's target the number 4th. That is going to have the animation. Oh, come on. Animation delay effects, which is going to be 0.4 seconds. Oh, sorry, 3 seconds. Then for this WebKit animation delay, .3 seconds. For the number 5, we need to say WebKit animation delay 0.4 seconds, animation delay 0.4 seconds. And for the number 6 and 7, it needs to be 5 seconds. So let's say animation delay, which is going to be 0.5 seconds, and WebKit animation .5 seconds. Let's copy the stuff and let's put it up over here. And now you should be able to see we have a nice honeycomb preloading animation stuff just by using the plain CSS, and it's by using the animations and keyframes, right? So let's move on to the next one.